Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Niti.
Hey, friends out in YouTube world. How are you guys doing? So, we are here today continuing this series that we're calling Exit Stage Left. And we got East Coast. I'm Niti, representing the East Coast here on North Carolina. We got Michelle Ford representing the West Coast on California. And we are going to talk today about public versus private. There's this conversation, Michelle, that we go out there and we start talking to our friends, and we're talking about this peace flag here that everybody thinks is a CIA flag. I've been told. I was told I was a CIA agent, girl.
I was going to
And
say, who told you that? A CIA member?
yes, actually, one of the people who accused me of this is actually literally CIA. Anyway, y'all, if y'all don't really know,
Did you guys hear that? She knows somebody from the CIA. Niti, you got
I
to
met
get better friends.
girl, I met them and I met them, and I didn't know that they were, because don't know any. I'm pretty naive to this. So for all of y'all just watching out there, me and Michelle know each other. Well, we didn't know each other when we were doing this, but we were both part of the food freedom movement and the
Well,
sorry,
I was part of the vaccine
medical.
fight. Yeah,
Yeah,
medical freedom.
the
Yeah.
medical freedom. I call it food freedom because food is medicine. So, medical freedom. And also because they're trying to poison the food. I mean, they are poisoning the food. The food is poison. Okay, as is the air. I mean, they're trying to really mess up all of our natural resources. Who's
Mhm.
they? The corporatocracy, y'all. The corporatocracy.
Yeah.
So,
Egypt, Babylon,
yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh,
Right. Except, the thing that's funny, I'm glad you kind of brought up Sodom and Gomorrah. So that story, the way that story goes, it helps me prove my point all the time, Michelle, where I'm trying to explain to everybody, hey, did you know that your feet are facing forward? They're facing forward because you're not supposed to do what, Michelle?
you're not supposed to look back. You're going to turn into a pillar of salt.
That's why your feet go this way. And so it makes no sense. Michelle and I were right before we went live just now. We were having a little chat, and we were talking about how it's difficult for a lot of folks to identify truth versus reality, truth versus the lies, and and another thing about it is they don't know how to discern morality versus immorality as a side effect. And what we all need to be remembering is that the truth aligns with morality and lies align with immorality.
Mhm.
And so I think everyone's been so trained, institutionally trained, Michelle, to be really good and not to be bad. But they don't realize that if you just walk in truth, you're always walking in morality. And so you don't have to be walking in lies. And we are already good. You guys are so good. Like, you were born worthy. You were so important and you matter so much that there's currently a race to control humanity, like control human consciousness. So last time we talked about consciousness. If anybody wants to watch the last episode, we spoke about that. Um, but today we want to focus on public versus private. So, Michelle, I was talking to this lady, okay, and she was promoting thesovereignsway.com. And for anybody out there, I understand that they have some really good classes that teach about common law. And I haven't taken one, so I can't speak from my personal experience. Have you taken one?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. We can't speak from any personal experience, y'all.
No.
And we're not promoting anything, we're not selling anything. We're just talking. But somebody said to me that, or they were actually telling a bunch of friends of mine, "Hey, y'all should join this group." And I was trying to say to them, hey, uh, you could do that, but you might want to know that that's still operating in UCC. Like you're still operating outside your jurisdiction. And we have more power on our own jurisdiction on the land and soil. What do you think, Michelle?
Okay, so yeah, because I really know nothing about, I can't really speak to what people get from that class because I don't know.
Okay.
But what I can say is that I think there's a huge confusion going on about our
Yeah.
American government and about being a free American, because those are two totally different things. Okay, so and as we learned, continue to learn, there's the three branches of our American government, and then beyond that, on our own states, we've got our land, our state, and then we've got our counties. So there's even other levels of government in that way. And yes, we are a we the people government when you stand up and become a people again. Um, but people come onto the assemblies and confuse that the work that has to get done is that of holding the people that are doing the work accountable for doing the work and staying in their lane. I saw this awesome meme over the weekend that said, when you stay in your own lane, there's no traffic. I found that to be like wildly brilliant, right? Um, and so people really need part of the self study and self directed study that we do here involves comprehending the different jurisdictions and then respecting the boundaries of each of the different roles, right?
Right.
I'm not going to go around telling the continental marshals what to do. That would be going out of my lane, right? My lane is I'm the coordinator for the California Assembly, right?
Mhm.
And so the work that I'm doing is public work. Everything I do is transparent. Everyone knows what I'm doing. I do everything on our General Assembly meetings and our Saturday mop and bucket calls, and I share the playbacks of the recordings, and there you go. It's all out there. And when I'm not the role of the coordinator and I put on my private hat, I'm a free American, I'm a free Californian, and I deserve the respect of having a home and a family life, and that even the assembly government gets to stay out of my life, my personal, private, Michelle Ford self at home, right? I don't need any IT people spying on me. I don't need any
100%.
I don't need any
100.
IT people coming into my computer and messing with my files. Thank you very much. So there's some people who think that, or appear to think that there's just this wishy-washy, anything goes at any time, any place, and acting secretly. Now, secrecy is different than privacy.
Yeah, we wanted to
Yeah,
distinguish this.
and
So
public, right?
and public. And a lot of folks think that if you're operating as a sovereign, then you're operating in privacy.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
no. Well, I mean, kind of, but not really. What we're saying is, so folks will say, well, how do you do that in the private? Okay, we should address this because there's those of us that are uh, state citizens. We're working in our assemblies. We're doing the work to uphold, because we, the people, are the government.
right.
But there's some of us, we, the people, that might have a job.
Hmm.
I don't know, as a public school teacher. And if you're a public school teacher, you're effectively working for the British territorial because you're like maybe a city, state, county employee under a different jurisdiction while you're at work.
Right.
So you you are considered a dual citizen because you're working with our employees, and at the same time you're also living your private life. Now, in your private life, uh, when you're not at work, then you operate as a sovereign. And then when you're at work, then you're having to operate under whatever the rules are at school, because you're operating in that space. What's the face for, Michelle?
Yeah. Because well, really, what I hear you saying is that if someone's got a public service job and they're
Mhm.
working for the de facto government in a school district,
Right.
um, that's one form of public service, right? They're
It
not
is.
they're not
It's
elected or appointed. They're hired to do a de facto government job, and when they get home, they're free to be.
right. But some of them might be police officers.
Right.
Some of
Mhm.
them might be firemen, like first responders.
Mhm.
They might work at the hospital. They might have a license as a nurse or a doctor.
Mhm.
These are all people who have private lives.
Right. Yeah.
And in their private lives, they might be a sovereign.
Right. In their private lives, they might just be a sovereign.
Mhm. And
I
they
mean,
also might work at the post office.
right.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as you can see, not you, I mean, you, but yes, but the audience can see there's layers and layers of having to comprehend who, what, why, where, when, and how, you
But
know?
Michelle, they don't
Mhm.
realize, most people don't realize these centralized occupations that we just talked about,
Mhm.
they all operate under the wheel of either the municipal or the territorial state government.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Mhm.
You follow, right?
Yep, I'm following you. I'm
Okay.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down over there. Yeah.
We're tracking. We're tracking. So this is what a lot of folks are getting confused about because,
Mhm.
all anybody really knows is that I was born on America. I'm
Mhm.
an American.
Well, yeah, specifically, were you born in North Carolina?
Me, I was born in New York. I'm a New Yorkan.
Oh my goodness, see, wow, I would have never guessed that. So you're a New Yorker, right?
I
So
am.
and really that's who you are. And
That
then
is
by
who I really am.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, really, you're a woman, but beyond
Right.
that, status-wise, you're a New Yorker, and then by virtue of being a New Yorker, because New York is a state of the union, you're also an American
Yeah,
in the international sense, right?
correct.
So it just kind of
And I
depends on
mean, I grew up in North Carolina, so I feel more like a Carolina girl. So, I'm a
you
North
sound like
Carolinian.
one too.
Yeah. You know, I was only about a year old when I moved here. So my husband says, "You can't really claim New York because you moved from the country to the country. So whatever." And because he grew up in Jersey, which is not New York, but he claims that he's a New Yorker because
Hmm.
you know, he's a fan of the Yankees and the Giants. Okay, it's a sports thing.
He's a New Yorker at heart, but not necessarily by where he was born.
Right. By any other way, actually. But yeah. Yeah. I I think the bigger point that we want to make to everybody is that a lot of folks just feel like I'm American. Why do I have to do anything to be free? I'm free.
Oh, well, I can
Okay.
explain that. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you just explain the
Yeah.
levels of freedom?
Okay. Well, gosh, um, you're born free, right? I think
Are you
well,
sure? That's
yeah.
what. So somebody told me this was the other thing that who am I to tell them? Because they are, they have faith. They're believers,
Mhm.
and nobody stands over them. Okay, nobody.
That listen, that's true in the sense of salvation. I'm not going to argue that one, but when it comes to being on this earthly plane,
Yep.
anytime they've ever check marked a box that said that they're a resident of the state of fill in the blank or a you know, a US citizen or a citizen of the United States or any any title, Mr., Ms., Mrs., Miss, uh,
Farmer.
farmer,
Did you know that?
what?
Can't say you're a farmer.
Oh, I didn't did they legalize that too?
Girl, it is so crazy. They're like the farmers are like, "What are you talking about? This is what I do."
Yeah, it's a verb, it's not a title, yeah, that's fine,
Or an
right?
adjective, farming, describing what I yeah.
Yeah, well, wait till they call someone a breather and legalize that, and then next thing you know, they can charge you for that too, it's like everything that occurs naturally, they have figured out a way to make it a title so that then they can legalize, legislate, and otherwise
Corporatize. They want
corporatize.
corporatize. They want corporatize.
Yeah.
So, they're trying to corporatize everything because, friends, when you incorporate something, when you corporatize it, nobody's responsible. It's so great. It's so
Yeah.
great because then nobody's responsible.
Right.
And to them, when nobody's responsible, that's freedom.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're like,
Obviously, you're joking.
I mean, they have tried to tell me how at risk I am because I'm not incorporated. And
Wait, yeah,
if I'm
who
gonna,
tried to warn you? Who tried
oh,
to
that would be the NCDA and the
Oh,
USDA and the
yeah.
FDA
Yeah, I'd
and
like to
the
knock on the
CDC.
like to knock on the door of the man named, NCDA or CDC or FDA or FCC or
Mhm.
FAA or WHO or the
A, B, C,
UN.
D, E, F, G soup. Yes. The
Yeah.
alphabet soup folks will let you know that, you can't operate in any type of business. And what they don't understand is jurisdiction. They actually do understand it. They don't want you to know that. And so they don't teach you that. And so therefore you're incompetent. And so if you're incompetent, now you got to hire somebody, an attorney or some representative, because then when you hire somebody to represent you, you are further acknowledging and confirming for them your incompetence
Mhm.
because you needed representation. And
Couldn't
now
speak for yourself. Yeah.
am I deep enough into the whole of the private versus versus the public?
Well, here's one thing that I see that will be helpful. Just
Yeah.
as you're talking to people, right? You're educating and you're helping people to move along in their learning journey. And so I think it would be helpful that when you're talking to someone about public versus private, first you define which jurisdiction you're talking about. Because some people, right?
Mm.
I've talked to many, many, many people who say, I don't need to do a status correction. All I have to do is open up a private membership association.
Oh,
And I go,
yes, girl, they are really pushing the PMAs.
right. And then I
And
say, well, if you're trying to start a business, I can see why you would think that.
yes. Please, let's talk about this. Please, I beg of you, because this is what they are pushing. So, in my world, which by the way is not CIA world, I'm actually I work with farmers, which is the pharmacist part. I'm not a drug dealer like the corporatocracy is. I actually am for no artificial interference with the body of ourselves or anything that we're going to eat. I don't want to eat anything artificial
I
or
hope that
anything.
doesn't count with makeup and skincare because I do have my
Girl, I have a line for you. I have things for you to know. But, you know, also, we do. We address everything that this is your largest organ, your skin. This is a
Mhm.
different conversation though, but friend, I have things for you.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, we address all of that because everything is being absorbed and adsorbed by the body and into the bloodstream. So, uh, yeah, I mean, and by the way, we're immersed in nature. I know people don't really think so because people don't even want to believe that we're animals. Also, did you know, Michelle? They said, no, we're not even animals. I mean, I'm a she, her, or whatever they say. I don't know. All the things. They have all these other ways to define themselves. But
Yeah, I don't do the pronoun thing.
yeah, I don't do lies. I don't do lies and immorality. So, I only operate in the truth. And the truth is that I'm a living woman. And, you know, if you want to get into the science of it, then we can identify us as in the animal kingdom. But I know you like to go to the Bible. which is fine too. It's great
Mhm.
because we're the people. We're the men and the women.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's real simple. So, anyway, I only brought all that up because they bring that into my farm world when we're trying to identify real food versus imitation food. So, that's the reason why I have to identify the various livestock and then us versus them. Because even in the Bible, mainly in the Bible, we were given dominion over them. It is our responsibility to provide stewardship.
Yeah.
We're supposed to steward the livestock. We're supposed to provide stewardship for the forest and the rivers and all the waters and the land and the soil.
Yeah.
And we're
Not a
supposed
bunch of poisoning and chemical geoengineering and all that oh, I bet you on YouTube there's certain things we're not allowed to say.
I have found that when we speak in truth and confidently speak in joy, then
Mhm.
we are 100% able to speak about anything that we really want to. And the
Well,
truth is the truth. And
but
so when you are seeding clouds and you are actually interfering with the life of the soil and the land, because the land and the soil is alive, you know.
yeah, I was
Um,
learning about that from you one of the times that we talked, um, when you talked about the soil, and I know very little about the soil other than the fact that it's been, heavily, compromised because of all of these chemicals and the weed killers and the chemical spraying and the not allowing the livestock onto the land like you were talking about. So, I don't really know anything about how to fix it, and, but
hmm.
that's
Can
where
I
you
tell?
come in.
I can tell you something. One thing I'm going to tell you and everybody, Michelle, is that
Mhm,
nature has grace, and everything can be remediated. And
mm,
as as violated as the soil and the land has been, we have been too. We are a reflection of the land and the soil. And
mm.
so if we have hope, the land and the soil does too. Our planet is not lost.
Oh,
It is
no,
it is
definitely not
not lost.
lost.
Well, that's what they want everybody to believe, Michelle.
Yeah, no,
They want
we
everybody to believe that, it's a lost cause.
yeah, we don't have to buy into any of that nonsense. No.
No, no. So back to the public and the private. So any case, this was a group of farmers, and I was like, "Hey, I'm working with wanting. I want the farmers to know about what we're doing, Michelle, because I want them to be able to claim their land,
Mhm.
so that they can protect their land and mineral rights, their mineral and water rights and soil. I want them to protect the whole thing,
Okay.
because they're enslaved by the corporatocracy. Did you know you've never paid for food if you are buying food in a grocery store?
What do you mean?
I mean, you've never paid for the food.
What did I pay for?
You paid for storage, you paid for insurance, you paid for the labor, you paid for the brick and mortar, and barely at that.
Wow. So then wait,
Mhm.
so then did the people who grew the food, the farmers like you're talking about, did they get
Mhm.
paid?
Mm, no.
Whoa.
They are enslaved by the banks who keep
Mhm.
extending them credit. So, what do you know in this world about banks and extending credit?
I know that they were already paid, and they're
Rah!
and they're double dipping, when
Triple,
they
quadruple. And then when they refi these loans for these
Oh,
farmers based
yeah.
on lies and immorality,
Mhm.
because those people are getting paid pennies on the dollar. So if you have a house full of chickens and there's 10,000 birds in that chicken house and only 5,000 of them live, that means 5,000 of them were lost. So that farmer I don't call those people farmers. Those are the CAFO people, the industrial food producers. But people call them farmers. People think this is the farm because that is the where the chicken's coming from.
Mm.
So if you have 10,000 to start with and only 5,000 at the end, then you already lost half of your profit.
Mhm.
So who's in business, Michelle, that can afford to lose half?
Nobody that I've ever met.
Okay.
No.
And then,
That's a losing investment right there.
okay,
I'm
so
I'm no financial guru, but I know a
uh
bad investment when I hear one.
mhm. This is the way our food has been produced since the grocery store.
Yikes. Yeah,
Actually,
centralized food.
mhm.
Yeah.
So centralized food started with the Flexner Report in 1910.
Mhm.
Y'all should go look that up.
Yep.
Okay, so then anyway, in this group, they were directing them to this site, and I was like, okay, but that's not gonna that's gonna be a really nice education for how what common law is. You know, it's got great definitions, language. It's a good place to learn the language. If you but then they're trying to tell you that you operate under God. Okay, well, we already know that on in this civilized world, then
Oh my,
there's
we're gonna have to
apparently
define civilized too.
I know it just gets to be a messier conversation the more we get into it,
Right.
but the civilized world, all the roads lead to Rome for that, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah.
Okay. And so if you're living in the civilized world where you use the central banks, which would be your bank account
Mhm.
or your merchant account or where you keep money.
Mhm.
If you're just keeping your money under the mattress, probably that's better. I don't know. But like somebody must be
If
paying.
it was real money.
I know that those papers, right? Today, someone who's very intelligent, who I respect very much, told me that they would rather get paid in the fiat currency, even though they know that it's not great, because the U.S. government just deems gold unlawful whenever they feel like it. And this person, like, legit believes that they don't want to get paid in gold versus fiat currency because, the U.S. just deems it unlawful from time to time.
Mm.
And I had a whole lot of words that I wanted to share with that person,
Mhm.
and I refrained because I was like, that's a lot.
Mm.
Like, that was a lot for me to unpack for them.
Mhm.
I don't know how many of you guys out there understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, hopefully it was obvious to a lot of people who were paying attention. I was just a little kid when they came out with the petrodollars, global, the US debt note, the fiat currency being the standard. Um,
Mhm.
you
I was a
know,
kid too, and I didn't know. I didn't know until recently why in America nobody values gold.
mm,
And the more I hear this now, it was because their gold was stolen from them,
right.
literally stolen in the night out of their bank, uh, vaults. What do you call them little things that you rent at the bank?
Yeah, yeah, the safety
Lockers.
deposit
Yeah, the
boxes.
safety deposit box. I know, I was like, "Why can't I think of it?" Well, because I don't trust the bank lockers, okay, friends, but, like,
Mhm.
uh, everyone's always said, "You should keep all your valuables there because it's safe in the safe at the bank."
Mhm.
No, probably not. Probably not. I don't think they love you more than you do. Probably not.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah.
They have a vested interest that everything stays in their custody. Now, I know this sounds weird and paranoiash and all of that,
Mm,
because we've come up in a system where we're supposed to trust and go along to get along and all this other stuff. But the fact of the matter is they've trained us to forget how to think, and they've
mm,
taken, skepticism out of our nature.
mm,
Um, I
mhm,
remember, going to school with kids that they would get in trouble. But
mhm,
when I think back, I remember at the time having people that I thought were really cool kids at school, and they were getting in trouble for doing things like talking back. But really, they were ahead of their time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah, they were actually asking questions. I was that person. I was told I was talking back, Michelle, when I would say, "Why?"
Yeah.
They'd be
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
"Oh my
"Don't
gosh."
talk back, Niti, you
Yeah, I
troublemaker."
I was a troublemaker. I was like, "Why?" I was the kid,
Yeah.
why?" Oh, they hated that. But I mean, nothing they said made any sense. And I'd just be like, "Okay, I really don't know what's going on. I'm just obviously stupid." I really felt stupid for most of the time in school because I was always in trouble for asking why, and nobody else would say anything. And I'm like, "Bro, like, did you understand what just happened? Because I did not know. I'm not comprehending what's going on here."
Mhm.
So, you said something interesting just now.
What's that?
um, how did you put it just now?
I was talking about kids in school and that they were
Mhm.
ahead of their time when they were speaking up
And
like
right
that.
before that, you said that I should have wrote it down when you said it.
Mm. Was it about the banks and
Yeah.
how we were taught, to go along to get along
Go
and
along to get along.
mhm,
That's
don't make
immoral.
waves.
That's immoral, Michelle.
Mhm.
It is immoral to be a follower. It is immoral. And okay, I know that we're talking to our YouTube friends that we are like, "Hey, click and like and follow." You don't have to follow us. Um, we don't want you to.
Yeah.
Don't follow us. I mean, join us if you wanna join us. Don't follow us. Don't do what we
Yeah.
say just because we said it. We're expecting you to be thinking. We're trying to provoke thought, okay? But when you just follow or you just go along to get along, then you compromise your integrity. It is
Mhm.
100% immoral to be an order follower.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes, that what you just said is it boils down to jurisdiction again, okay?
Mhm, mhm.
Because first of all, there are jobs to be done. If you're talking about the government and restoring the government, there are jobs to be done, and there are things that have to get done, and there some of the roles have a chain of command. But here's what Niti is saying right now. She's saying that if someone tells you, let's say it's a boss, let's say it's a someone higher up in the chain of command. If they tell you to do something unlawful or immoral, it would be completely and totally unethical or immoral for you to follow along just because they said it if they asked you to do something that goes against the laws of nature and nature's God. So listen, we've got to be able to get work done.
Yes.
And we have to be lawful and we have to be morally upright in order that we can get our work done.
Mhm.
So, the only caution about when we say it's immoral to be an order follower, I hear that. I really do. Because you know what? Look what the Nazis did. Oh, I was just doing my job, ma'am. I mean, give me a break. That's
That's every okay, look. I work with and support former military. We create opportunities on farms for former military. It's a perfect transition for them because they go from a life of just destroying and killing, to now just growing and like growing life and
yeah.
protecting life. And the reason that anybody has PTSD, friends, is the guilt from operating in immorality. And now these crazy people who trained you to do that are trying to put a label on it and act like you have an illness. No, this is your God source inside you knowing that this has happened. But let's not look back. can we just remember our feet are facing forward? And we didn't know what we didn't know 5 seconds ago. And if this is the first time that you've ever thought of this because you had no reason ever to think about this before, I just want you to know that that's called nescience. It's called operating in something that you've never known. And nobody expected you to know it because it wasn't something that you were ever even really thinking about. And that is not ignorance. That is nescience because you didn't know and no one expected you to know. It's a different word.
Now, is
Ignorance,
that the same word? I've heard it. I've heard the word. I think it's the same word, but pronounced differently. Nescience. Is that
nescience, I might be. You know,
nescience?
I'm a southern girl, and I probably didn't say it right. You could say it any other way that you want, but nescience, nescience, nescience,
Nescience. Nescience. Potato.
nescience.
Potato. I just wanted to make sure it was the same word we were talking about because I think it is.
Yes,
Those of you linguists out there, you know what I mean?
yes,
Drop a comment in the chat and let us know how to say it right.
right, right.
Oh.
Nescience. Oh, I mean, I've heard it a million different ways. I think the biggest thing that we need to know is that if you just heard this today, then you're not ignorant. It was nescience or nescience or whatever you want to call it. Okay. But now that you know it, because we told you, and you ignore that, now you're ignoring the truth. Now you're operating in ignorance. If going forward, like, look, if you're in the military and someone tells you to just do something and it is going to cause harm, then you could just say no. And that is your moral obligation. And if you don't do that, then you're operating immorally. And you should question that person who told you to do that because that person is breaking a law.
Well, and you know what? Here's a case in point, right? Earlier, I talked about the Nazis and what they did, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Now, people would argue, that Hitler killed millions of people, right? But actually, I don't think he ever picked up a gun. It was or maybe he picked up a gun, but I don't know whether or not he used it to kill anybody. But the people that ended up in the Nuremberg trials were the order followers. They were the ones showing up saying, I was just doing my job, thinking that they were not going to be accountable for their own actions. No, each one of us has to stand up for what's right. And if there's some area where you feel like you got to stand and it's confusing and you don't know what to do, reach out to someone that can help you to comprehend, what the dilemma is, first of all. And second of all, what is the rightful action to take given that challenge? But it's all a learning journey because we're so used to the this thinking of like consensus mindset. Oh, if there's a group big enough that tells me it's perfectly okay to fill in the blank, whatever it is, you've got to know already. You have to know, and not based on your own understanding. You've got to know the difference between right and wrong. If suddenly legislators said it would be perfectly okay to be a pedophile, would that make it okay? No, it wouldn't. Now, I don't know how long ago it was, okay, before it was socially acceptable for someone to cheat on their spouse. That used to be a serious offense because it's immoral. It's not right to cheat on your spouse. It's immoral to tell lies and bear false witness. It's, but we've grown up in a time where there's all this social justice going on, where everything has become politicized. And so as a result, there's always these two choices, right? The left right paradigm, the, whatever it is, vax versus no vax, mask versus no mask. We've got Ukraine, we've got Russia, we've got Palestine, we've got Israel, blah, 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 blah. And I talk about this on my class on Thursday mornings, but it's like this whole divide and conquer thing. It's
Political correctness.
it's all it
And
that's one of
so
them.
political correctness and social justice is
Mhm.
100% immoral. I mean,
Yeah.
Michelle, it's immoral to say, you know, um, all of these political social movements, equality, women's equality. Girl, I am not equal to you, okay?
Mhm.
I'm not. And what I mean is we are not the same.
No.
And praise the Lord.
Right, we're yes.
I mean, you don't want me and me to talk or Michelle and Michelle. I mean, it's like boring, you know? Nature has no two snowflakes that are alike. I
Imagine
mean,
that.
the diversity.
Mhm.
How is it that our creator is so incredible, never repeats? You think all the frogs look the same. They don't.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an Indian girl and I mean all of us Indian people look the same, you know.
You're so funny. The other day, literally yesterday, my son and I were talking about grass, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to finally invest in putting some grass in the backyard. I just got to find out the kind of grass that would go grow best. And he goes, is there more than one kind of grass? I'm like,
It all looks
yes,
the same. I know.
it all
I
looks the same,
I
but
not when you see a nice diverse. So, in most neighborhoods, you're not allowed to have a bunch of different kinds of grass. Did
oh,
you
is
know
that
that?
right? Oh, I see. Look at this. We're learning every day.
Especially these new neighborhoods around here. I don't know what they're doing in California, but over here, it's like you got these smart communities. They're not smart, but whatever. It's smart communities.
No,
These smart
smart is a new legal term.
Okay, there's a
Right.
lot. I know that turns into something else because there's like Alexa and a whole bunch of other things
Yeah,
involved with this.
smart device. It's like a trademark. Okay, go ahead.
I just know that they're not smart. What I also know is that I don't need any dead item that's just a thing to try to act like it's smarter than me, okay? I already get mad at the sink. You go to the bathroom and the darn sink doesn't just can I just turn it on? I will turn it off, I promise. It's very crazy, right? Well, in this there's these neighborhoods and they only let one grass be the thing. And
Mhm.
most of the people who are trying to have their yard maintained and manicured and whatever, the reason that it doesn't work is because nature does not like crops or monoculture. So when you only put one kind of grass out there, then nature can't stand it.
Mm.
And it's constantly putting weeds and different things in because it wants the diversity. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, that so you wouldn't need Roundup if you just love nature."
Right.
If you but you constantly are interfering with it,
Yeah.
and
Plus, I
that's
love dandelions when it
right.
Who knew that
Because
dandelions were a weed? They're like the cutest little weeds you've ever seen.
you're trying to make a wish, girl.
Yeah.
You're making a wish. What about the daisies? For my wedding, I had daisies for my flower because
Oh.
the theme for our wedding was he loves me not. He loves me, we tied the knot.
Oh.
I know it's kind of cornball,
Aw, that's
but
cute.
that was our thing. And I was just like thinking, what if every flower had even petals? It would mess my whole vote up. Then what? I'm just saying, you know. Anyway, it's nature. That is the beauty of nature. So we're not the same. We're not equal, but we are liquid love.
Now, you always say liquid love. I do want to know what that means. I've never asked you before. What does liquid love mean? It's so funny because you know where my mind goes?
Where?
Now, I'm a product of the 70s, right? So my mind goes to those lava lamps. Like, it's like liquid, like it's like this liquid
Mhm.
love thing, because it reminds me of the 70s, and it reminds me of this. My sister had this, black velvet picture on the
Mhm.
wall, and it was like
Glowed in the dark.
neon glowing, picture of like Tweety Bird or something. I'm gonna have to ask her, was that Tweety Bird? I think it was. But
I had
needless
one of
to
those
say,
too.
so when I hear liquid love, I'm like immediately transported to the 70s. And
Yes.
all I could see is the fuchsia lava lamp just like gloop, gloop,
Mm, glue.
doing its thing. And I'm like,
Well,
"Mm,
because we are a plasma, which conducts electricity. So our blood force, our sacred bloodstream is plasma. We're liquid love.
I'm glad
Which
I asked." So now,
well,
although when I think of
we're flowing in this
Mhm,
life, and we're just all we're doing is looking for a place to happen all the time, right?
mhm,
We're just flowing through you know, through these various um time space realities, right? We go
mhm.
to sleep. How come we don't lose time when we sleep? We don't keep time. We just made time up.
Yeah, time is a man-made thing anyway. So are addresses.
Ah, did we just dive into another hole? Because then there's the address and the post, and I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
we have time.
the calendars, the dates. Holy smokes. When did
Yeah.
December become a 12th month instead of a 10th month? Ah.
Where was and supposedly it was used to always be 13 months or 16 or what was it? Like I know the calendar supposedly was something else. It keeps changing. Everything keeps changing because of the people,
Mhm.
right? And we're all in a different moment in time, and we're in one of the best. We are here because this is one of the best moments in time. Because did you know
Yeah.
that we're in the golden age. Truths are being revealed. All of us we're being reprogrammed. There's a lot of glitches going on and people are very excited. And because of all the excitement, there's a lot of clashing. I don't think that most of it is really intentional and deliberately angry clashing. I think we're all excited about something better. And because we're so different, we're all trying to come at it, you know, in our own powerful different ways. And all we really know is nobody's going to control us again.
No.
Nobody.
The cat's out of the bag. The toothpaste is out of the tube.
Yeah.
No, we're not going back in there.
Nobody
Mm-mm.
wants to go back.
No. There's that
So,
line of demarcation where it's like going, this like I've heard it said, there's the great awakening and then there's this great reset, you know what I mean? But either way, both of those are for profit worlds. You know what I'm saying? They're both like it's about making money, making money. They're on tour, book tours and concert tours and limos and fast
whatever with
cars.
the money, okay? Like
Hmm.
we don't have we don't have any problem with energy exchanges, okay, friends?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're here for. We are creator. We are creating. We're just creating. We're choosing and creating and joyfully. This is it. This is what we do. We're here to see it and touch it and taste it and feel it. And we want to, we want things to be better all the time. Now, I can't understand the psychopaths, so I'm not going to try. The ones that are just trying to control all the people, I don't really understand. Honestly, I think that's exhausting sounding.
Well, it is. and that's exactly, like Dr. Evil, right? He was intending exactly that, like this sort of like world takeover,
Mhm,
But here we are promoting that people get to be self-governing and then work together to
mhm,
restore their actual government,
mhm,
which is not a top-down system. And
mm.
we just need enough people to get that.
We
That's
don't
all.
really need a lot of people.
No, just enough.
No. It's just actually, one king is enough. But can you imagine trying to take down a whole state of kings? If everybody was a king,
Mhm.
you couldn't just take down the state.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
you get it?
it's why all the pieces on the chessboard protect the king. All the pieces
But we don't have to
protect the
do
king.
that, y'all. But we don't have to do that. We're not in a lack operation here,
Yeah. No, but if you think of our assemblies as being um, there to protect the kings,
which is everybody.
sort of. And I don't mean protect like tell you to wear a mask. I mean protect like make sure you get to keep your rights.
I think suffocating you is not protecting.
Not at
Let's
all.
just wake up,
Yeah,
everybody.
but have you seen the Los Angeles County public health official? Okay, so
I
if
haven't
you
even seen the North Carolina public health officials because, girl, I
oh,
don't, I don't watch that stuff. Listen, 15 years ago, I stopped paying attention to the centralized lies and immorality. So, are you putting it up? Are you doing
yeah,
something?
well, I want to demonstrate my point
Okay.
by uh, having you. I mean, because really, a picture tells 1,000 words,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
And I'm not trying to disrespect or uh, I don't know. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that.
Oh,
But
are we operating in feelings?
you could tell a lot from you could just kind of tell a lot from how someone's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could tell a lot from their overall uh, how they show up,
Their
right?
energy, their energy.
So you could go on to the internet for yourself and just pull up a picture. Just
Mhm.
Google it, or sorry, it doesn't have to be Google. You can go to any
Do you have like a link you're
search
trying to
engine.
share?
Actually, I haven't tried to share yet, but I can. Do you want me to pull up one of these? There's so
If
many
you
pictures.
if you're talking about something specific that you want people to look at, then you see that box on the bottom right on your screen?
Uh-huh.
Um, you
Okay.
can just put it there and everybody here can look at it.
Okay, let me do this then. Let's
Mhm.
see.
There's
Present.
supposed to be a way for me to, like, help you share screens and stuff like
Share my
that, but,
screen.
I mean, honestly, I have
Share
no
my
idea how to do
screen.
that.
Here we go.
Oh,
All right. Here we go.
yeah. Oh,
So
did you
listen.
push the share screen? Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
good. Here, I can put it on stage. There we go.
All right. So I'm not trying to harm anybody, but this
No.
is the woman accountable for making
Mm,
public health decisions
mm,
for residents of the county of Los Angeles.
mm,
And I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing radiant health.
mm,
I'm not seeing someone who appears. Now listen, I don't
mm,
know if they doctored this picture. Okay, but there's been a lot of, running around scaring people into thinking that, you know, we're all going to die and blah 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 and you can find countless pictures of this woman walking around wearing a mask.
mhm,
And this is an unelected woman, right? So not anybody that the people selected. This was an appointment, some sort of an appointment or a hireling. And um, anyway, I just wanted to share this because
How did you do that?
what do you mean?
Share it.
Oh, there's a little button down at the very bottom menu. It says present.
Okay, hold on, let me
So
do that.
I clicked on that
Oh, share screen.
and then I selected what I wanted to show. Now listen,
Ah,
I'm
yeah.
not promoting to be the queen of great health, okay? If I could just get rid of having a coffee habit. That would be a really awesome thing. I give myself permission to drink coffee. My other
Yeah.
weakness is butter. But apparently, according to you, butter's not that bad, right? So
Butter's good.
butter's good, right? So,
Okay, can you guys see this? Let me see. Yeah, there.
and again, I'm not trying to
Okay.
disparage.
We're not trying to disparage. This person is the Minister of Health in Amsterdam.
Okay, right. So, not so sure that she's got the credentials to be able to share. Um,
Mhm.
when I was growing up,
That wasn't really healthy.
no,
So
not a
I don't know.
glowing
I'm not saying I'm
example.
perfect. I have a lot of, issues myself. I've had
Hmm.
3 autoimmune conditions and I've had to work on remediating a lot of that stuff. So, you know,
It's
I would
tough. We've been living in a chemical,
uh,
toxic soup for so long. And
mhm,
not only that, but it's our food has been affected, our air has been
mhm.
affected, our water's been affected. We got fluoride in the water. We've
I
been
was
being dumbed
violated
down.
by my sacred bloodstream, and then as a side
Mhm.
effect, I had 3 autoimmune conditions.
And that probably happened to these public health officers,
Probably because 'cause they're
you know?
following the rules, y'all.
Mhm.
They follow their own if they're following their own guidance,
Right.
if they're following their own guidance, that's what they look like. So, if that's what you wanna look like, but what I find is that they don't feel good. They're worried and scared about stuff, which is why they wanna make everybody safe because they wanna be feeling safe.
Yeah, and the issue in that system is just that
Right.
anybody gets to go around to tell you how to live. Tell you what
Yeah.
to put on your face, on your
Mhm.
body, in your body.
But then they're not responsible.
But they're not responsible
They're not responsible.
because they get to coerce and
Mhm.
fearmonger and tell people that they've got to do this to keep everybody else healthy.
While they make money.
They're making money and living a
They're
cushy
making
lifestyle and
money hand over fist. Did you know how much those fake tests cost?
uh
The test that the guy who created the test said is not even a test for that, but that
no.
guy, those PCR tests, I mean, there's, I don't know, just one example of them would be $36 that you have to buy just on the basic Amazon thing. But I mean, like, how many people are buying that all the time because they need to show that to somebody or whatever? I'm just saying that there's no test. First of all, there's no test. I could go a little bit further. We aren't trying to go down that road. We were here to talk about public versus private today,
Sorry, public
Michelle.
versus private. Yes, so in a private sense, people should be able to make decisions about their own life without the intervention of any so-called government worker that's going to
Mhm.
tell them what to do to protect themselves. They get to
Because
make their
you're
own
because
private
you're
decisions.
but you're actually responsible for doing that anyway, and they make you sign every single thing when you go into surgery, when you go in to see the doctor, when you do whatever, then you are constantly signing a release for them to have no liability. So if you're responsible anyway, that means you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you must obviously know more than what I know. And so you're letting them make bad decisions for you. This is how I had to finally take responsibility for murdering my own daughter, because at the end of the day, I let them make me believe that they should make decisions for my child because they're the professionals. And they're also crazy and incompetent, as evidenced by the fact that she was tortured and dead now. So I wrote a book about it. Everybody can read it. And I'm not saying this to make anybody feel bad. What I'm saying is, what else has to happen for people to understand and comprehend the gravity of what I'm saying? I am only telling you this not because you're supposed to listen to what I'm saying and do what I say. I'm telling you what happened to us, and then you can decide if you really want to do that also. Hopefully, no. If I say, "Oh my God, everybody's falling off the cliff over here," then hopefully you're not going to go fall off the cliff because I warned you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just warn you. I did all the things, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that was me." Oh my gosh, I would have never done that. I
Mhm.
wouldn't have wanted to do that. So don't let people pressure you because that's really what they're doing.
Right. And in this top-down system,
Mhm.
they're taking responsibility away from the people and putting it into the hands of unelected bureaucrats who are going to tell you how to live and how to be.
Dead corporations
Yeah.
who have no care.
No.
If they can't care, they can't care. So if they can't care, they don't care. And you're expecting them to care.
Yeah.
See how that looks?
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, I don't know, girl. We had decided, me and Michelle had decided that we would just do this little girl time chat with you guys every Monday about these things that we're facing, and we're hoping it is helping for people to be able to make some better choices, less mistakes, have some clarity. Again, this public private thing. So there's a lot of folks out there, Michelle, that are saying that David Straight and Anna Maria Reisinger are leading people into a ditch because they are not actually allowing you to they're making you take another title still no matter what, so that you aren't just sovereign under God. And me and Michelle are trying to say to you guys that that is actually not really the case. The case is that David's working with people who are like military, and he wants to help people who want to remain in the military have some of their own sovereignty in their private life. I don't know when they get to have a private life because from what I understand, if you're a general issue, a GI, then you signed away all your control until you change that status and take it back. So if you don't take your power back, then you kind of gave it to somebody. That's my understanding, right, Michelle?
That's how I understand it. Yeah, if you don't correct the public record, then there will always be an assumption that you are something other than a man or a woman. And then people who wish to restore their government, the we the people government, right? Then there is the responsibility of taking a particular role or title. If you just want
Mhm.
to be free, if you're like, hey, I'm done with being sick and tired, being sick and tired. Like I just want to be
Mhm.
free, free, and I want nothing between me and God. Then yes, you should not select being a state citizen. It's that simple.
But
But you,
they don't know that they should actually be an ASN. So you can be an ASN and not actually participate on the assembly.
yeah, but you have to say for people who are new, you have to say what ASN means or what it stands for.
American State National. So a lot of folks think that they are taking on this new title and then they're giving their power to Anna.
No, no, they're not.
Right.
No, I mean, Anna, the Federation does have oversight. And ultimately, when all 50, when the states are stood up and we've got all of us have a functional General Assembly and we've invoked ex parte Milligan, eventually, then the Federation isn't going to really have oversight over each state. But as it is right now, each state is interim. And when I say state, I mean uppercase S state. Um, each state is interim right now because people are figuring this out.
You're
And the one of the biggest challenges is them recognizing the difference between choosing to be free, lawful, peaceful, free, go. That's fine. And choosing a life of servitude. Are you going to serve? Are you going to be part of the We the People government? Are you going to stand up and be morally upright and make sure that anyone who's volunteering with your state government or county government is going to be accountable for the work that they say they're going to do and remain lawful, remain peaceful, and uphold our public law, right? But there's two worlds going on. And because a lot of people I'm finding are not studying, they don't get that part. They
No.
correct their status and then they volunteer to do something and then they hold up the I'm a sovereign sign saying, "You can't tell me what to do, I'm sovereign." And I'm like, "Well, no, actually, but you volunteered to do a job and there is accountability. And so if you don't want accountability, then you shouldn't stand up to do a job." That's all. There
I
is a
think
difference.
I think that there is a confusion, Michelle, because I don't know how to make this more clear, but discipline equals freedom.
Right.
Discipline
Right.
equals freedom. So nature has an order, and if you don't follow that order, you gonna die. Okay, you gonna die, friend.
Right.
And I'm not saying that like I'm gonna do something to you or somebody's gonna do something to you. No, no,
Mhm.
no. If you don't follow the order of nature,
Mhm.
nature says no. And that's where, people are like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how I ended up with the cancer."
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe because
It was
you
sudden and surprise.
I
Yeah.
don't know how did it happen. Oh, it had nothing to do with the Bang drinks. It didn't have anything to do with the Splenda or the fake chemistry project sugar. It definitely had nothing to do with me breaking my sacred bloodstream and violating it with some kind of poison. No, it
Mhm.
didn't have nothing to do with that. It had nothing to
It was
do with,
accidental. It
yeah,
was
I
because
mean,
of your genes.
it's genetic. It's not even my
Mhm.
fault. It's not even my fault. But I mean, I do every single day eat Cheetos and ding dongs and drink something out of an aluminum can. I don't even know what the new stuff is called, Michelle. That's how long it's been since, like, from what I heard, there's like way more different new things. And I don't know what they are. I actually did not know, but people go to the gym and they believe that they have to drink something like a Bang drink. Like that's a health drink, supposedly. Like they sell it at gyms. And I
Okay.
don't know what that is, honestly. I know I just keep saying that because I don't know what there's a bunch of different things that are like Bang. They're called energy drinks. There's some I don't get it because when we were kids,
Called
Michelle.
tax your adrenal system drinks.
Oh, I mean, I really can't understand what it is because when we were kids, we just had energy. Like, we just had it.
Yeah, kids had energy. They didn't need to drink fake energy to get energy. Yeah.
Right, right. And
Mhm.
even as a 20, 30, 40-year-old, I had energy sometimes and I could just go and play. And even now, I'm like 50 something and I just have energy. And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, I think I'll go lift some weights," and I just do. And because it's fun, it feels good. But, if it didn't feel good, I wouldn't do it.
Mhm.
But if it feels good, then I would do it, right?
Right.
So, anyway, we're probably going down a little rabbit hole a little too far, but um we're trying to just identify, I think, on multiple levels, reality, truth versus lies, and public versus private. So, you can have a private life. You can have a private business, meaning private exchanges with other people,
Yeah, like
and you're
trade. You could trade freely. You could get
freely.
into it.
You can do it freely. You don't have to do it. Somebody's over here. Let me just give you an example. See this, Michelle?
Yeah.
No, you don't need an LLC in the private because an LLC is a corporation. Corporate.
Yeah. You need to
So,
get rid of your LLC and follow the instructions on the TASA website to bring whatever business that is for. Bring the business
right,
onto the land.
right. But be warned. Be warned that you will be 100% responsible. So what they're going to tell you is, oh, if you dissolve this LLC, you will no longer have protection. You will be 100% liable for everything. So you want to make sure that you really understand and know, comprehend fully what it means to do business, do good business.
Right.
Now you want to make sure that when you're doing business, you're not like, I don't like that guy. You need to make sure whatever you're doing in business, you're making it right for everybody
Mhm.
and that you're fully taking responsibility in that exchange.
Yeah, I talked to a gentleman, what, 2 weeks, 1.5 weeks ago,
Mhm.
who about 2.5 years ago, he had, taken his business that was, he had a business license, he had to have workers' comp, he had to have the general liability insurance, he had to have all kinds of stuff, layers and layers of bureaucracy. And he decided, after a lot of research, he felt comfortable to create private agreements with his customers,
Mhm.
and that as part of his agreement, that if there's anything not right, he would take responsibility
Mm.
to fix it.
Mm.
That it would be, that they
Mm.
have a scope of work that's clearly
Mhm.
defined, and if anything
Mhm.
isn't working that he did, he's going to fix it, right?
Really? I actually run my business that way, Michelle, for
Uh
15
huh.
years. And I make everybody responsible. And I don't put it in writing because people don't realize, I mean, I guess I could put it in writing, but I have a relationship with them.
Right.
So I vet everybody out. I have a relationship with them. I tell them what I'm going to do. And I do have it in writing on my website,
Hmm.
like what I'm going to be responsible for and what you're going to be responsible for.
Yes. Yeah,
And
it's a give and
Mhm.
take whenever there's an agreement. Yeah.
Right. And I do that on the website. So it's publicly
Mhm.
seen by the world. And then in my legal on my website, it says buyer beware. Like I don't do this, and I am not oversee because I'm working with people where they can get food that's not poisoned from
Right.
from farms. And if they want the food that's not been poisoned from the farms, then it's not legal. It's weird. I know.
It
It's
is
weird.
weird because it's not in the realm of legalese.
It's not
You know what I mean?
legal. It's not legal
Yeah.
because the corporations don't honor life-giving force.
Mhm.
And so I have to say, "Hey friend, if you want to come here and get this illegal unpoisoned food, you got to be responsible too."
Mhm.
So if you don't want to come here, I don't care. Go to the grocery store. Don't come here.
Right.
And if you don't like me tomorrow, just go away. Like, just
Right.
don't come back. It's okay. I don't need you to come back. Anyway, we're going over time. Michelle's got to go. I got to go. We love you guys.
Yeah, thanks
We
for being
want
here.
you to, join us every Monday. And Michelle and I, every week, we're just kind of like going by what we pick up, whatever the pulse is of the people with the boots on the ground right now. And we're trying to answer things and hopefully do it in some sequence where we're logically just answering things, you know, in this conversation, this simple conversation. And then if you have any questions, you can bring them to the podcast tomorrow, Tuesday. But Michelle, at the same time as the podcast, she's teaching a whole class. Her class is awesome.
Thank
The
you.
I love it. She's a incredible teacher. I am not a good teacher. She's a very good teacher. So
Thank
her
you.
class, the links for both of the things are in the show notes, friends. So you can see all of Michelle's. You'll see the state of California's links, and you can find her class. Or you could go to my link tree and then go to the podcast, or you just and bring your questions if you have like specific questions because then Anna's there and we won't misguide you because we don't want to misspeak, right?
Yeah, Anna's the expert, and we're still learning. We're doing our best, and I love that you have like a private, not private as in PMA, but you have an exclusive way that you work with your people that get food from you. So I love that.
We love you guys. We will see you next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard and 11 a.m. PST.
Thanks, Niti. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.